Christopher Nolan's Odyssey has a Circe problem, a critic's notebook by Maya Phillips in the New York Times. In Nolan's blockbuster, the sorceress becomes a simple witch, played with rawness and mystery by Samantha Morton. When Odysseus's men arrive at her home, the film shifts from seafaring epic to body horror. Circe turns the men into swine, but the movie shows the transformation in gruesome detail. She stretches and molds their heads like putty, sticks her hands into their mouths and shapes their faces into pig snouts. The sequence is presented as unwarranted cruelty, and Odysseus, arriving later and portrayed by Matt Damon, outsmarts her just as he does every other monster on his journey. Phillips points out that this portrayal is a sharp departure from Homer's original text. In the epic, Circe is introduced as a beautiful, enchanting woman singing and weaving at a loom, a direct parallel to Penelope, the faithful wife who weaves while waiting for her husband's return. Emily Wilson's 2017 translation, the first English translation by a woman, describes Circe's domicile as a palace of polished stones on high foundations, where nymphs carry gold cups and silver bowls and wild animals fawn around her like house pets. Many translations call her a goddess who works her transformations with a potion and the flick of a wand, not with torture. When Odysseus reaches Circe's island in the poem, he receives a divine antidote, threatens her with his sword, and then becomes her lover. She later restores his crew, and Homer notes that the men emerge even more handsome than before, bathed in oil and dressed in fine clothes. Odysseus and his men then spend an entire year feasting on meat and sweet strong wine, living happily with Circe and her nymph servants. It is only when the crew reminds him of Ithaca that Odysseus finally decides to leave. Phillips argues that reducing Circe to a monstrous obstacle does a disservice to one of the earliest examples of a powerful, sexually autonomous woman in literature. The film's choice to render her as a crazed, cruel witch erases the nuance of a character who is as wily as the hero himself and who commands her own realm. Phillips concludes that the film's decision to strip Circe of her divine status and replace it with visceral horror not only misrepresents the source material but also undermines a foundational female figure who embodies agency and intellect. She notes that the movie's framing of the transformation is unjustified, ignores the context of a solitary woman confronting armed intruders, a detail the original epic treats with nuance. By turning a complex goddess into a one-dimensional monster, the adaptation loses an opportunity to explore themes of power, hospitality, and gender that have resonated for millennia. This has been a look at the critic's notebook on Nolan's Odyssey. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.